Kia ora, g'day, welcome back. In regards to this video, I'm going to look to try to provide some tips on the back end of conversations that I've had with a couple of people who have had some queries around wanting to try to just, I suppose, get some advice on how they could continue to shift the needle in a more positive direction in their health and wellbeing journey. So for background and context, these people have got predominantly a sitting job where they're sitting at a desk vast majority of the day doing the work that they do. They have identified in and of themselves that they're not where they want to be. They're not where and how they used to be in terms of feeling wise and appearance wise. So, people have different drivers for different things. And that seems to be a couple of theirs. Like they know where they could be because they've been there before. They know how they felt, which felt way more energetic and less out of breath than where they are right now. And they don't like it. So they want to make some changes. And they've started. So they've started by doing some exercise each day. So moving a little bit more than what they used to. They've also improved their eating. So they're eating a lot better, they've said, or told me. Like, I don't know exactly what it is. I'm not there over their shoulder to see what it is that they're eating. But they've told me that they've made some conscious decisions to move more, to eat better, and they're drinking basically just water whenever they're consuming liquid to stay hydrated, which is a good thing. So they've made some, obviously, so they've identified some things in and of themselves mentally and physically. And now they've consciously made the decision to take steps to improve that a little bit each day, which is great. So depending on where you are, whatever stage you're at, like recognizing and identifying those things is a great place to start. And then the next step is just taking action like on that day or doing something immediately that you can do within your schedule rather than waiting until, oh, I'll wait till next week. I'll wait till the week starts properly and then I'll start from there, whatever. Don't worry about doing that. I always encourage people to just start immediately where you are. Just change one thing. If you've identified something and you know that it's not helping you in your health and well-being journey, and say it's you're consuming too much alcohol, then stop right there and then. If it's a Friday and you know that there's Friday drinks usually at the end of the hard week that you've had and you think, I'll start next week Monday, don't do that. Just start that day. It means that you miss out on Friday drinks. Don't go to Friday drinks in case you're tempted to drink and you can't stop yourself. Just avoid it. But there's little things like that I say anybody can start immediately once you make a decision, regardless of what it is. Starting a business, going on YouTube, losing weight, looking to feel better, looking and wanting to feel better about yourself. There are always things that anybody can do. Doesn't have to be big, ginormous things, but there's always something that you can start immediately. That's been my experience anyway. So anyway, coming back, that gives you hopefully a bit of context. The other pieces of context which are important, which I discovered after I shared these tips that I'm about to just provide here, and hopefully in some small way they help. But they went on, well, actually I didn't ask, they just went on and shared and spoke with me about, I don't really have a set time in terms of when they train or when they decide to move and get some movement in. And then I did say, I suppose you could say I did ask them. And I said, what time do you get up in the morning? And I said, I just get up whenever. So as long as they're at work by the time that they need to be there, typically by 9 o'clock they need to start. They don't really have a set time for when they get up, which was interesting to me. And so there's a key point there, which just doing that in and of itself is going to make a big difference. Similarly, fast forwarding without going into all the conversation details that I've had with these people, similarly, nighttime is not much better. They don't have a set time for when they're going to bed. So sometimes they might be going to bed at 11, midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, they shed, which is, you can do that if you don't need to start work at 9 o'clock and if you really don't have any plan to improve and or try to shift that needle, as they've mentioned, in a more positive direction on your health and wellbeing journey. So anyway, that's enough context to give you in terms of the type of work, sitting predominantly. They're conscious of, man, things aren't the way they used to be. I want to make a change. I'm going to move better. I'm eating better. I'm drinking mostly water. But they're a bit disjointed in terms of when they get up in the morning and when they're going to bed at night. So there's 7 pieces of information there. Maybe that fits in with some of where you may be at. Maybe not. Maybe it fits in with where some people that you might know are sitting. And so therefore, maybe some of this information may be helpful. So with that context and information and having a conversation with these people, they asked, can you give me just a couple of things that could help me just that little bit more than where I'm at this stage? They specifically said just a couple of things because they know that there's a whole bunch of stuff and they just want to try to narrow it down as much as they can. And what made me smile was they said, and I don't want to just hear discipline and consistency. Because those were the first couple of words that came to mind and a couple of tips. I do stand by those. I think they are not easy, but they're easy to understand. They're not so easy to implement and apply, depending on what stage you're at. So it does take some time and a bit of momentum, and it does take discipline and consistency. So those 2 words, I definitely would share them with anyone. But going a little bit further, and based on that information that I was able to get from them and that they shared with me, which is great, I felt, felt humbled that they shared the level of information with me that they did, and I haven't gone into all the other details with you here. But with that information, there's 3 things, I would say 4 things right now that I'll share, but 3 things that I shared with them. So the first one is that I'll share here. I did talk about this with them, but I didn't use it as one of the three tips, so to speak. And that first one is, if they did nothing else, this is just my thought, in my experience as well, having worked with people, having applied it and done it myself, people have heard that comment, I want to lose weight. And some people that might be, and I've been that way as well, might be a bit more blunt and direct. It's like, okay, that's simple. Just eat less and move more. Like, it is very, very simple. It is that simple. I guess the quality of what it is that you're eating comes into play. But if I try to just break down what I mean by that, eat less, move more, as long as you are consuming and eating less energies or calories than what you are burning, no matter what you do, if you just do that, like that includes eating and drinking. So basically, if you are consuming less calories than what you are burning, and if you did just those 2 things, you are going to lose weight. Okay, so hopefully that's simple enough for people to understand. I'm not going to bang on about that. I did touch on that with these people and said, hey, listen, if you're eating well and you're just drinking water, like the food and the liquid calories, which is none in the water, And if they just stick with those two things and just keep chipping away, they are going to continually move that needle in a positive direction. Now it's more a case of, it seems like you want to continue to move the needle, but you want to try to progress it along a bit quicker. So there's a whole bunch of things that people can do, right, to do that. So they did agree, they did acknowledge and understand that, yes, they do want to move the needle a little bit quicker, but they don't want to go overboard, like they just still want to just keep that chipping away and knowing and trusting the process that they're going to get results. So the next thing, given the context that they provide, I said, well, one of the first things that you should be doing then is setting a set time for when you get up each day. Set that time and make sure you get up at that time and allocate for yourself a certain amount of time for you to train. And then give yourself enough time to get ready before you then depart and go to work so that you can be at work on time to start. So typically they're going to start work at 9 o'clock. You're in the morning. So your situation, depending on where it is, if you're working rotating roster, and you're working night shifts or whatever, or you fluctuate and alternate between night shifts and then day shifts, depending, for a period of time, and then you get some RDOs or roster days off, and then you go into the next cycle, whatever that is, you adjust and adapt it to suit your schedule. But have a set time to get up. It sounds real basic and simple, and that's because it is, but it's not necessarily easy if it's not a habit that you have been consistent with and disciplined in maintaining. Again, those two words are going to keep popping up. So setting that time, say for example, I know I need to start work at 9 o'clock. If that's the case, like it is for a couple of people that I was talking with, work back from there. How long does it take you to get to work? Half an hour, whatever. Okay, so if it takes you an hour, you know you need to be leaving home by at least 8 o'clock at the absolute latest, preferably a little bit before, just in case there's traffic accidents or whatever, or bad weather, or just, you never know, flat tire, something could pop up. So giving yourself enough time. So now you know, well, you need to be leaving by 8 or just before 8 because it takes you an hour to get to work. So from there, how much time do I want to give myself to train? Maybe half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour. So if it's going to be an hour, well, now you know it's going to be at least 7 o'clock that you need to be starting training from 7 till 7:30 or 7:45, or to 8 o'clock, depending on what time frame you're going to use there, but also making sure that you give yourself enough time to get yourself ready, cleaned up, showered up, before then you then leave to go to work. Okay, so work out the timings for yourself. Went through this with the person very quickly. And then from there, depending on what that is, it might actually mean, oh, well, I need to get up at 6:30, 6:45, 6:45, whatever it is, maybe 6 o'clock, to give themselves enough time to wake up, then train from maybe 6:15 to 7:15 or 7:30, to then give themselves enough time, 15, 20 minutes, to get showered up, cleaned up, dressed, ready to go, to then be on the road, leaving for work at 5 to 8, 10 to 8, or at the worst, 8 o'clock in the morning, to be at work by 9 o'clock or whatever the time is. If it only takes them 30 minutes or 45 minutes to get to work, maybe they're still leaving at 8 o'clock so they can be at work nice and early, 20 minutes, 15 minutes before work actually starts. Whatever that situation is for you, and or in this case for them, is what I shared. So set the schedule, the timing for each day, and then get up at that time each day. Prepare yourself, get your training in. It's really important, I think, to dedicate time to and for yourself every day, whereby you can just look after yourself. The better you are, or the better you feel about yourself, and the better shape that you are, the more able you're able to, or the better able you are able to help other people. That's my take anyway. Like if you feel like a sack of spuds and you look like a sack of spuds, you're probably maybe not in the best frame of mind, physically, mentally, emotionally, to help others, if that makes sense. Not to try to be derogatory of people that, may be heavy set and overweight and maybe not feeling great about themselves, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that probably are in that category, but do a heck of a lot of positive work to help other people. But I would suggest and encourage that if you are in that category, maybe a bit heavier set, fat, overweight, whatever, and you feel like you don't have the energy that you normally have or that you used to have, I'd say that, maybe start with yourself. And as selfish as that may seem, the flow-on effect and the knock-on effect and the more positive impact that I think you can and will likely have will be blinking probably 10 times what the impact is that you have at the moment. Hopefully that makes sense anyway, without trying to pull anybody down, because all of us are at different stages, different phases, etc., etc. So get up, set a set time, get up at that time, make sure it's with enough time for you to do what you need to do, to allocate that time for yourself, and then head off and go to work. That was the first tip. Second tip I would give is, and that I shared with them, is when you're at work, like I've been in lots of jobs where a lot of it has been sitting down. So I had a health and safety business partner job here at George Western Foods, had my own little office, a lot of sitting down. Worked at the mail reintegration service, worked in the office, a lot of time sitting down, reviewing, doing lots of reading and stuff with applications coming through. What else is there? Been lots of jobs working with youth. Not a lot of sitting down in that job, but there were like lots of moments to sit down, so maybe that one doesn't count as much. Doing what I do now, social media. A lot of sitting down, a lot of reaction videos, a lot of doing this sort of thing to try to provide some value or content in some small way to help other people or people that might come across it. But a lot of sitting down. So what do I do in between, and what did I encourage? So the second tip was find a way to just get some movement in during the day. Like do 10 squats every hour on the hour, or do 10 push-ups and squats, or just 5 push-ups and 5 squats or whatever. Do them incline on your desk. Do the Bulgarian split squats with one foot up, resting on a chair and just using one leg. Do some lunges, like do some sit-ups. There's a whole bunch of body weight things that you can do for a short period of time without getting all smelly and sweaty in your office if you work in an office environment. That you can just do consistently throughout the day, just building up those little reps. Say you do 5 every hour on the hour. By the time you leave work, 5 times what? So say 8 hours, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 reps of squats or push-ups that you otherwise wouldn't have done. Doesn't sound like much, but if you're accumulating that day after day, 5 times 40 works out to whatever that works out to be. I'm not going to try and do that. My brain isn't quick enough to try to do maths like that right now, so don't put me on the spot. But if you do, that's just working on 5. If you do 10 reps of something every hour on the hour, if you have the access to a pull-up bar and you are struggling to even get one pull-up, just going out there and practicing, pulling as much as you can, whether it's just scap raises or pulling as much as you can on the bar, as high as you can. I guarantee you, if you do that every hour on the hour and you spend 2 minutes, 3 minutes there, because you might just start with hanging. Just hanging might be the thing that I need to do. I want to work up to hanging on the bar for a total of 30 seconds. That might be 3 lots of 10-second holds. It might be blanking, 6 sets of 5-second holds before you can get to that stage. Who knows? But that might take a minute or 2 minutes total time if you have access to that. Push-ups you can do anywhere. You just need floor space. Squats you can do anywhere. Incline push-ups you can do anywhere. Like there's lunges you can do anywhere. There's no need to feel like I'm restricted, I'm limited. The only other thing that people might be worried about is, people might think I'm weird. Who cares? Who cares? People probably think you're weird anyway for not, and even if you don't do that, people probably think you're weird anyway. So does that matter? Does it really matter? If you're doing something for yourself and you're wanting to move the needle in a positive direction for you on your journey and your path, does it really matter what these other people think? For me, does it really matter if people think I'm weird here on YouTube doing content? It doesn't matter. Like, it probably matters to a degree. I think that's just me being honest right now, a little bit off topic. If they're people that you really care about, and they're people that you think or you feel care about you, and if some of their comments maybe come across and maybe, I don't know, maybe they make you feel not very good or surprised or shocked that they would say something like that to you because you're like, oh man, I thought you had my back, sort of thing. That could potentially have an impact on people. But I would say again, if that's how those people are going to make you feel, bro, cut them away. Simple as that. That's just my honest take. Cut them away. You don't need them in your life making you feel like that if you don't feel like that about them. Like if you're supportive of them and what they're wanting to do, and if you feel like you're not getting that support back, cut them away, bro. Like, I get it, probably easier said than done, but is your journey and your happiness in the direction that you're wanting to move the needle to in that positive direction worth sacrificing just to hold on to this person that seems like they may be holding you back? By the way, I haven't experienced that. I haven't got anybody that's looking to hold me back or making me feel like they don't want me to succeed. I'm just sharing that because I know that there potentially are people out there that, may sadly have people in their life that do that. What I would do personally is me sharing, I would cut them away. Like, Kakeets, bro, see you later. Like, I don't need any of that rubbish in my life. I'm doing what I'm doing with or without you. Okay, so coming back to this, do some movement. Doesn't have to be every hour now. If you want to do it every 30 minutes, then do that. If you want to do it every 2 hours, then do that. If you just want to do it on your morning tea, lunch break, and afternoon tea break, if you have those 3 sort of allocated periods, if you want to just do it and use your break time to accumulate and get a bit more work in, do that. What I shared with them in terms of doing little bits and pieces in between is because that's what I do. When my videos are uploading, if it takes a bit of time, whether I'm downloading stuff, that takes a bit of time. And then when I'm uploading it, after editing it, that takes a bit of time as well. So I get opportunities and moments to get some extra little bits and pieces in. It's nothing spectacular, and it's nothing super high volume, and it's nothing super strenuous. Like sometimes I get a bit of a pump or whatever if I'm using some dumbbells, or if I'm doing some push-ups, or if I'm doing some squats, or if I'm getting out there hanging on the bar doing some pull-ups. But I get some work in, but I'm not getting all smelly and sweaty for that short period of time when I'm doing a little bit of work. So hopefully that makes sense. That's the second tip. So first one, set that timing, stick to that timing, get up in the morning, do what you need to do, get off, get to work. Second one, whilst you're at work, you can find opportunities to do things while you're at work. Little bits and pieces, they accumulate. Think of it as stacking up small wins. And again, slowly shifting that needle in that positive direction that you want to head to on your particular journey. The third one is on the back end. I think you'll know where I'm going to go with it. The third tip that I gave to them is the fact that their night routine, I'll be honest, and I shared with them, sounds rubbish. Like the morning routine sounds pretty rubbish. Not as bad because, even though they say, they just get up whenever, they do have to be up by a certain time to give them enough time to get ready to travel to work and be at work on time. The evening time, maybe not as bad. Like if you're going to be at 3 o'clock in the morning because you don't start work at 9, well, it's probably not that bad, to be honest. Like you've still got a decent amount of time to have a sleep, I think, and then still get up and get ready. Although that's not ideal, you can still make that work. But again, if you want to shift that needle, likewise in the morning, setting that time, same in the evening. If you're not doing work, if you're just doom scrolling or wasting time, set a set time for the evening, whatever that time's going to be, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever works for you, so that you can get a good night's rest, hopefully, and then get up in that morning when that alarm goes off again, at that set time that you've committed to, maintaining that discipline and consistency to do everything that you need to do so that you can go to work. So just doing those 3 things. You notice I didn't talk about doing an afternoon training session. I did talk about that with them and said, hey, if you have time, like if you've just been wasting lots of hours of time, which they did say that they were pretty much, then do an afternoon session, an evening session. Make it, it can be the same length as the morning one. It can be shorter than the morning one, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever, longer. You want to move that needle, just doing these little things is going to help move that needle a heck of a lot quicker. And I don't think it's a lot of information to take on board. Set an alarm in the morning, do what you need to do. Do little bits and pieces of exercise during work time, while you're at work, every hour on the hour, every 2 hours on the hour, or just use every 2 hour on the 2 hour, and or during just your dedicated work break time, because you can do that during your work break time. How you use it is up to you. And then you could either, I didn't share this with them, we did talk about it, but they could either do another workout in the evening if they have the energy. Maybe even if you don't have the energy, just force yourself to do it. Even if it's just a walk. Like if you're walking, you're burning calories, you're burning more energy than what you are consuming. Whether it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that can work. But the third one that I did share with them, which would technically be the fourth one, is set that time for the evening and then go to bed. Do what you need to do and then get some rest so that you can be up ready for the next day. So with that, had a good conversation with them. Hopefully what I've shared here and tried to impart, I'm pretty sure it would probably be common sense for the most part for the vast majority of people. Otherwise, I think do some search online. Go on YouTube, have a look. That's my take anyway. Those are my tips with regards to helping people and having had the privilege to not only have done that in the past, but doing that currently. And on the back end, some conversations with some people who have asked for tips and suggestions. They only asked for a couple in terms of how they could continue to shift the needle in a positive direction to get to where they want to get to. So hopefully this helps. Thank you for your time. Keep hammering and smashing with whatever it is that you're doing. And until next time, we'll see you on the next video, eh?